He was there. I think he was in the first row. He had, the Tibyān. He tied Tasbah on the neck. We knew them once we saw them. When we got to transit, we were boarding the plane to move to, I think, Medina or Jeddah that year. He came to me. Hey, let me go out. You didn't pay me. There is that. Woman cacao. ورب الكعبة. What happened? In transit, I think we were going to do that. In transit, we have to tell our people what to do. So he was listening to us. So before we got to the place, he said, even some Korea. Them people. So that is an example that before you choose the people you will fly with, you will go to Hajj with, be sure that you will be able to perform your Hajj correctly. Otherwise, your money and your effort will go wasted. May Allah protect us. Let me give us another example. Many states in Nigeria, many states, I'm sure of Lagos, I'm sure of Osun, if not all of them, you are going to leave Makkah in the night of Yawm al-Tarwiyah, not during the morning of Yawm al-Tarwiyah. You are going to start your Hajj in the wrong place. You should start your Hajj, you should get into consecration for Hajj in Makkah after Salatul Fajr, at the time of Salatul Duha. That is when you should get into Ihram and you should start moving to Mina. That day is called Yawm al-Tarwiyah. But they will move in the night and get to Mina in the night and start Tarwiyah in Mina in the night before the morning. The Hajj is not nullified, but the reward becomes reduced. Why? Because the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, خُذُوا عَنِّي مَنَاسِكَكُمْ. Take after me the rites of your Hajj. Just like he said, صَلُّوا كَمَا رَأَيْتُمُونِي أُصَلِّي. He also said what? خُذُوا عَنِّي مَنَاسِكَكُمْ. The way I have performed Hajj, that is the way you should perform Hajj. And what they have done was not how the Prophet performed his Hajj. Alayhi salatu. So even though we would not say the Hajj becomes invalid, the point remains that they have started their Hajj from the wrong place. Now, you can now say, how does that affect the group that you go with? You may not be able to move to Mina alone. You may be a first timer. Maybe it is some people who say, go. I have never traveled with a group like that. And may Allah never make me travel with a group like that. But if a person is a person who knows his way, he knows Makkah, the whole Makkah himself. He knows Medina. He knows anywhere. Go your way. So you can do that. But a first timer or a second timer or even a third timer who does not know his way, if you go with those people, I'm sorry for you. So there are many examples like that. So before you leave for Hajj, before you begin to register, pay for Hajj, look for a good group. Be sure that in that group you will not be duped. Many people collect money from Hajj, they will not go for Hajj. I know a case of a man who got ready for Hajj. He came from his village to Lagos. He also wore the cloth of Kaya Haji. He wore the cloth of Hajj. He got to the airport. Wallahi, he didn't go anywhere. They didn't even buy a ticket for him. They had duped him. He was crying like a baby, old man. So how does he go back to his family? So be careful not to be duped, because you are looking for Oponto. What do Yorubas call Oponto? Or Ponto. How do you call it? What is Ponto? Chipo Chipo. So because we Yorubas, by your nature, you like cheap things. Yoruba like it. I didn't say so. Yeah. What do you want to be? 10,000 only want to buy at home. 10,000 egg to buy. Want your 10,000 there cool and buy. Those people who do people don't just do people. They do people because people want long clothes too. I want to buy it. Once you say Kato, then what get? Oh, I buy it. Like a fish that was given a bait. You know the bait? How does the fish come on the hook? It sticks the bait. So what happens? He puts his mouth to pick the bait and becomes hooked in the process. 419, this is the corridor of 419. If you understand it, inshallah, Allah will not make you fall for them. Mama, walk for catch. Yoruba say, any wafa, uwapo abi. May Allah protect all of us. So when you want to pay for Hajj, be sure you will not be duped. 1, 2. Be sure that you are traveling with a team that have people who know what to do, where to do it, and how to do it. Because Hajj, it's like Janaza. You know Salatul Janaza and Ahkamul Janaiz? I've read it, it does not stop. You have to have practical experience. If so thing happen, what can I do? If so thing happen, what can I do? And then Hajj is such that it's connected to locations. How do you get to those locations? From one location to the other, how do you move? You need big experience. So you don't have the experience. And you don't want to look for a team that has people who have experience. What are you looking for? So you go for Hajj, you come back from Hajj, you don't feel that you have performed Hajj, except that you feel plain and fro. And people will be telling you, Alaji o Ekabo, you know in your mind, say, it's Alaji o Kabo. May Allah protect all of us. May Allah make it easy for all of us. May Allah make it easy for all of us. May Allah make it easy for all of us. Some of our brothers have gone now. Like Mufti. Mufti is in Medina now. Abu Ahmad is in Medina. We spoke this morning. Somebody said, Allah Akbar. This is man do now. Allah bo meina lo. Lord to bo inshallah. So, and some of the brothers are still waiting. Abu Bakr is waiting. Abu Ja'far is waiting. Where is he? And others amongst our brothers that are waiting. Abu Nāsir is waiting. May Allah take all of us and bring us back safely. We are also waiting. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ وَمَا بَدَّلُوا تَبْدِيلًا. May Allah make it clear. We are in Babu Salatil Eidain. As if I should just be talking about Hajj. Because my own mind thinks is Otilog. When you see Hujjaj, you feel like, where Kajoma learning, we should just go. أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا أَنَّا جَعَلْنَا حَرَمًا آمِنًا وَيُتَخَطَّفُ النَّاسُ مِنْ حَوْلِهِ. Allah made haram. Babu Salatil Eidain. We return to our book Ad-Durar Al-Bahiyyah fil Masail Fiqhiyah by Al-Imām Ash-Shawkāni rahimahullah. We are in Babu Salatil Eidain, the prayer for Eid, or the chapter about the Eid prayer. Al-Imām Ash-Shawkāni said rahimahullah, هي ركعتان. I think one of us should address those women. Al-Imām says, rahimahullah, هي ركعتان. Salatul Eidain is how many rak'at? 2 rak'at. Do we remember the proof for it? The proof for it being 2 rak'at. The hadith of Umar and the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas and Ijma'. في الأولى 7 takbirat. In the first of the 2 rak'at, we make 7 takbirat. Allahu Akbar. After the takbirat al-ihram, al-sahih, we make 7 takbirat. قبل القراءة. Before we begin to say, أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم من همزه ونفخه ونفثه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. Before this, how many takbirat would we have said? 7 takbirat. وفي الثانية, الثانية here refers to what? الركعة الثانية, يعني وفي الركعة الثانية. It is وفي الثانية 5 كذلك, 5 تكبيرات. We make 5 takbirat after the takbirat al-intiqal. After the takbir that we make while standing up, we make 5 takbirat. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. كذلك, that is قبل القراءة also. Before you also start isti'adha and al-fatiha. The Imam Ash-Shawkāni says, rahimahullah, وَيَخْطُبُ بَعْدَهَا. وَيَخْطُبُ بَعْدَهَا. يعني وَيَخْطُبُ الْإِمَامُ بَعْدَهَا. بعد الصلاة. يخطب الإمام بعد الصلاة. The Imam will make khutbah after Salah. Meaning that Salatul Eidain is different from Salatul Jum'ah. In the sense that for Salatul Eidain, the khutbah is made when? بعد الصلاة. But for Salatul Jum'ah, the khutbah is made when? قبل الصلاة. So don't make qiyam for Eidain from Jum'ah. Don't make qiyam. It is al-qiyasu ma'al-farik. You'll be making qiyam with something that is different from the other. So you make your khutbah after the salah. 7 takbirat first rak'ah. 5 takbirat the second rak'ah. He says, وَيَخْتُبُ بَعْدَهَا. وَيَخْتُبُ الْإِمَامُ بَعْدَ الصَّلَاةِ. The Imam will make khutbah after salah. This is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salatu wa salam. We know the ahadith regarding these. So it says, وَيُسْتَحَبُّ التَّجَمُّلُ. يُسْتَحَبُّ التَّجَمُّلُ. That is, dressing up, being neat, being clean, is what mustahab is encouraged. On the day of Eid, it is encouraged to dress properly. It is encouraged to be well dressed on the day of Eid. In fact, we read that it is possible for us to buy a cloth that is expensive for the purpose of Eid. Just like the Prophet told us to, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when we read about Salatul Jum'ah, that it is encouraged for the individual to buy 2 clothes apart from his normal clothes for Salatul Jum'ah. Iyama lako Jum'ah. Then and we take that from the hadith of Umar. I'm sure you remember this hadith. He says, وَيُسْتَحَبُّ التَّجَمُّلُ. This was where we stopped from the last class. So, Al-Imām Ash-Shawkāni continued and said, وَالْخُرُوجُ إِلَى خَارِجِ الْبَلَدِ يعني وَيُسْتَحَبُّ التَّجَمُّلُ وَالْخُرُوجُ إِلَى خَارِجِ الْبَلَدِ. It is also encouraged to move outside the town. We move outside to the outskirts to perform Salatul Eidain. Salatul Eidain is not Salah in the masjid like Jummah. We go out. وَيُسْتَحَبُّ الْخُرُوجِ إِلَى خَارِجِ الْبَلَدِ. It is encouraged to go out to the outskirts of the city. He said, Rahimahullah, وَمُخَالَفَةُ الطَّرِيقِ يعني وَيُسْتَحَبُّ أو تُسْتَحَبُّ مُخَالَفَةُ الطَّرِيقِ. It is also encouraged to make مُخَالَفَةُ الطَّرِيقِ. You go with this road, you come back from the other road. It is from the Sunan to make what? Al-Khuruj ila Kharij al-Balad. Go outside. Like we in Oshogo now, our Eid ground is where? Kharij al-Balad. So everybody, Nakhruj ila Kharij. We go out to the outskirts of the city. Wa mukhalafatu tariq. So if you go following Union Road, you can come back following another route. Maybe from Ojoba, you go through Union straight down. When you are coming back, you can come through Ileja Road, you can come through another road, you can any other road different from the first one. Or if only one road leads to it and then they separate, you can follow that road, and where they separate, you separate as much as is possible. We are still coming to explain these with ahadith. Our man prayer is. We want to know what the Imam has said, then we discuss them with their proof, inshallah. So it says, وَيُسْتَحَبُّ التَّجَمُّلُ. It is encouraged to dress very well and neatly. وَالْخُرُوجُ إِلَى خَارِجِ الْبَلَدِ. It is also encouraged to go to the outskirts of the city. وَمُخَالَفَةُ الطَّرِيقِ. And to come from different roads. We go through one road, we come through another road. وَالْأَقْلُ قَبْلَ الْخُرُوجِ فِي الْفِطْرِ دُونَ الْأَضْحَى. وَالْأَقْلُ. It is also, likewise, يُسْتَحَبُّ الْأَقْلُ. It is encouraged to eat food. قَبْلَ الْخُرُوجِ. Before we go out for Salatul Eid. فِي الْفِطْرِ. For Salatul Eid al-Fitri. دون الأضحى. Not for Eid al-Adha Salah. When is it encouraged for us to eat before we go out? Eid al-Fitr. Duna al-Adha. As opposed to Salatul Eid al-Adha. For Eid al-Adha, we will come back home. And from Hadith, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, يَأَكُلُ مِنْ نَفْسِكَتِهِ. We are coming back. He will come back home to eat from his ram that he slaughtered. Sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi wa sallam. We used to do this as children in our homes, but we didn't know why. So why do we do that? We hear it from Hadith. For Eid al-Fitr, we eat before we go. What did the Prophet used to eat? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We will mention it today. What did the Prophet used to eat on the days of Eid al-Fitr? We will mention it. But as for Eid al-Adha, he would not eat before he goes. And he is not fasting. So most of you are, you go back when the evening, he shall wear. Majority. So the people must buy when he ania when he wada. If it is fasting, say kai niyan azumi. Amma ba azumi ba. Bai da niyya. Kawai karkaci abinci ne an ce. So you just don't eat. It's not as if, oh, I'm fasting. You won't eat before you go for Salatul Eid al-Adha. But for Salatul Eid al-Fitri, you will eat before you go for that Salah. وَوَقْتُهَا يعني وَقْتُ صَلَاةِ الْعِيدَيْنِ. What time? Is it 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock or 9 o'clock? What is the time for Salatul Eidain? 10 o'clock. That is what our Baba Adini will say. So people think we are Gumewa. So the question now is, what time did the Prophet what time did he himself observe Salatul Eid? We will discuss it today, inshallah. And that's why Imam said, وَوَقْتُهَا بَعْدَ ارْتِفَاعِ الشَّمْسِ قَدْرَ رُمْحٍ. The time for Salatul Eidain is بَعْدَ ارْتِفَاعِ الشَّمْسِ. After the sun rises. قَدْرَ رُمْحٍ, to the level of a spear. When the sun rises, to the level of what? A spear. From that time, إِلَى الزَّوَالِ, up to before the sun. Imam Ash-Shawkāni says, إِلَى الزَّوَالِ. What he means is that وَآخِرُ وَقْتِهَا الزَّوَالِ. We'll come back to that. Zawal al-Shams is the time for Salat al-Zuhr. It means he has an opinion, rahimahullah, that the time is extended from the time that we mentioned up to the time of Salat al-Zuhr. Says rahimahullah, وَلَا أَذَانَ فِيهَا وَلَا إِقَامَةٍ وَلَا أَذَانَ فِيهَا وَلَا إِقَامَةٍ. There is no azan. Irun Idi o ni irun pipe. There is no azan for Salatul Eidain. Ẹ̀sìn rẹ̀ pé afẹ́kírun Idi. Ṣébí irun náà ni al-qiyas ma al-farik. Ó fọgbọ́n gbé tó yàtọ̀ sí ara. Irun ni lóòótọ́ ṣùgbọ́n òun kò ní irun pipe. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kò ní iqama. Àìṣe kàámọ̀ Idi. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àìpé irun ní Idi. So young people say, we want Mashallah Salah. And for every Salah you must call Allah. Allahu Akbar Allah. It is not sunnah, it is not correct. There is no azan and iqama for Salah. So this is where Imam Ash-Shawkāni has ended it. But we will mention one sunnah that is strange regarding Salatul Eidain or Eid. After we finish these discussions, inshallah. So we stopped at وَيُسْتَحَبُّ التَّجَمُّلُ. So he says وَالْخُرُوجُ إِلَى خَارِجِ الْبَلَدِ. وَيُسْتَحَبُّ الْخُرُوجُ إِلَى خَارِجِ الْبَلَدِ. It is also encouraged that on the day of Eid, we go and perform, we go out to the Musalla. Where is that place called? Musalla. Where is it called? Musalla. They can ask, our children can ask, what is the name? We observe daily Salah in the masjid. We observe Salatul Jummah in the masjid. This place where we came to observe Salatul Eid, what is its name? What do you call it? Musalla. The name of the place where Salatul Eidain is observed is called what? Al-Musalla. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu said, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يخرج يوم الفطر ويوم الأضحى إلى المصلى. كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يخرج يوم الفطر ويوم الأضحى إلى المصلى. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he will go out, يخرج يوم الفطر, he will go out on the day of Eid al-Fitr, ويوم الأضحى, and on the day of Eid al-Adha, إلى المصلى, he will go out to the musalla. This is the point of reference. يخرج إلى المصلى, he will go out to the musalla. فأول شيء يبدأ به الصلاة, and the first thing he will do once he gets to the musalla, what will he do? الصلاة. فأول ما يبدأ به صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم هو ماذا؟ الصلاة. So that's why on the day of Eid, once the Imam comes, is Salah. Once the Imam comes, is Salah. Because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam يخرج يوم الفطر ويوم الأضحى إلى المصلى وأول ما يبدأ به هو ماذا؟ الصلاة. This hadith was collected by Imam al-Bukhari and Al-Imām. He says يخرج إلى المصلى, he goes out to the musalla. Ulama say the musalla of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is 1,000 arms length to his masjid. Al-Imām Badruddin Al-Aini mentioned that in Umdatul Qari. And others, they say the messenger Musalla is 1,000 arms length. It will be near to 1 kilometer. That 1,000 arms length will be up to 1 kilometer or more than that to his masjid. 1 kilometer to his masjid. About that. So that is where his musalla is. He will go out to the musalla to observe his Salatul Eid. That's why Imam Ibn al-Munzir in Al-Awsat, he said, "As-sunnatu an yakhruja an-nasu ila al-musalla fil Eid." As-sunnah, the sunnah is that an yakhruja an-nas, the people should go out ila al-musalla fil Eid. They should go out to the musalla for Salatul Eid. So that is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And you will see that despite the fact that Salat in the Prophet's masjid, because he said sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam in a hadith that is in Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim, the Prophet said, Salatun fi masjidi hadha. One salat, salatun. One salat, one fajr, one asr, one zuhur, fi masjidi hadha. In this my masjid, not this alif wadu, in the Prophet's masjid. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. What did he say? Afdalu min alfi salatin fima siwa. Is better. Afdalu min alfi salah. Is better than 1,000 salah. Fima siwa. In any other masjid. Illa al-masjid al-haram. Except al-masjid al-haram. In Makkah. So what it means is that if you observe like Mufti, I'm sure bi'idhnillah they would have observed today's Salatul Asr in Masjid al-Nabi in Medina. For their Salatul Asr one, we will need 1,000 Asr. Our 1,000 Asr is still lesser. Their one Salah is better than our own 1,000. Imagine that we can perform our Asr 1,000 times. Salatun fi masjidi hadha afdalu min alfi salatin fi ma siwa. One salah in the Prophet's masjid. One can, because of that, be going to Medina. They ask, what are you going to perform in Medina? I want to go and be observing salah for 3 days. So if you observe 15 salawat, and each of the salah is 1,000 times better than the one we observe. So the 15 salah he has observed, all things being equal, they are better than they are better than 15,000 salah that we observe in our own home. Some people say, "Kina wa logana, umrah, iwajo kumbe." What is that mean? Limithli hadha falyamal al-amil. Ni kal ku mura ti se ti e o. Ti e mura to ti e. Because that is what the affair will become on the day of Qiyamah. Nafsi, nafsi, nafsi. So if in this dunya you didn't take care of your nafs, and Allah warned you in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, alaykum anfusakum. Some people will say, you don't get up where I say me. I have one of our very good brothers, the third Hajj that I performed, he came to visit me at home. So when he wanted to go, he said, Abu Nāsir, I said, now. He said, I want to tell you something. Say, what is it? You have gone to Hajj 3 times. I said, yes, inshallah. And I will still go for more, inshallah. Please me. He said, don't go again until we have got You know the issue now. He has gone 3 times now. So recently I asked him, will you like to go again? I said, but you have brothers around you who are not going to say, Allah will bring their own. Allah will bring their own. He now remembered and said, because I told you that time. I said, yes. I can wait for 10 years to give you a reply. I can wait. If you tell me something, I can wait for 10 years before I reply you. A brother asked me once, what is the meaning of Salafiyah? I said I will reply him. And he was reading Usul Sunnah with us almost 12 years ago now. After we read the book, I said, what we read in that book is Salafi. He said, he is Salafi. I said, very good. So sometimes you wait to give somebody the reply. Because there is nothing that you say that will be explicit. It will not make sense to him. So when they say come and go, if you say no, let my brother go. No, let my sister go. Allah will bring those people's home too. Allah will you now. Some people say when you gather the money, instead of going for Umrah, give me Nafsi. So either may Allah take all of us. The Prophet's message is so valuable. But despite that, he will say, go out to Musalla to observe Salatul Eid. This is the point of reference. As remarkable, as valuable, as virtuous as the Prophet's message, he will still go out to the Musalla for Salatul Eid. How about us? One masjid will be in Aleku and they say, no, Masasi Latike, Masasi say, that's what Nabi sallallahu. Sibe, Anabi will jadi law, you want to jadi law. So don't observe Salatul Eid in your masjid. The sunnah is go out. The Prophet's masjid is so virtuous and excellent, yet he will go out. How much more your own masjid? So the fact that Salatul Eid should be observed outside on the outskirts is so established. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam يخرج يوم الفطر ويوم الأضحى إلى المصلى. He will go out to the musalla, and his musalla is 1,000 arms length to his masjid. 1,000 arms length will be, it will not be less than 1 kilometer. So his masjid sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That hadith of Abu Sa'id occurs in Sahih al-Bukhari. The second hadith we read about the virtue of Salah in the Prophet's Masjid also occurs in Sahih al-Bukhari. There are asar from Abdullah ibn Umar that he too will be encouraging you to go out to the outskirts. They will go and observe Salatul Eid inside the wilderness, in Saleh, not inside the city, outside. Everybody will go there for Salatul Eid. Likewise, there are asar from Salama ibn al-Aqwa and others, Abu Umama al-Bahili and others. But this asar of Abu Umama has an issue, but it will be strengthened by the rest of the asar. That what is known to the companions is that they go out to the outskirts of the city for Salatul Eid. Al-Imām Badruddin al-Aini rahimahullah in Umdat al-Qari, he said, وَلَا يُصَلِّي فِي الْمَسْجِدِ because except for a particular hardship and difficulty, just manage the case. Manage it. Be patient. So except for a difficulty, where should we perform Salatul Eid? Kharijul Balad. In the outskirts of the city. And the kinds of difficulty may be rain, heavy rain. They compel us to make Salah inside the masjid. Or heat, heavy heat. The heat we have around here are not things we can call heat. Sometimes in Makkah, in Medina, the heat may be up to 49 degrees. They are suffering it now in the US. Heavy heat is disturbing them. Now, you can find that too in our condition. I think in some places in Maiduguri and Sokoto, their temperature can rise up to 42, 43. So when this kind of situation happens, it will be hard to go into the desert for Salatul Eid. So in that case, we may have to observe our Salatul Eid inside the Masjid, Libarura. لضرورة. And then he said, rahimahullah, قال الإمام الشافعي. Al-Imām Ash-Shafi'i said, بلغنا أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم كان يخرج في العيدين إلى المصلى. It got to us that the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يخرج في العيدين إلى المصلى. He will go out to the musalla for Salatul Eidain. How did it get to them? From the hadith of who? Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. So the Prophet will get to Al-Musalla bin Medina, the Musalla in Al-Madinah. وَكَذَا مَنْ بَعْدَهُ. Likewise those who came after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. إِلَّا مِنْ عُذْرِ مَطَرٍ أَوْ نَحْوِهِ. Except as a result of an excuse of rain or a similar excuse. وَكَذَا عَامَةُ أَهْلِ الْبُلْدَانِ. Likewise, the people of the rest of the cities of Islam, they used to go out to the outskirts of their city for Salatul Eidain. إِلَّا مَكَّةَ شَرَّفَهَا اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. Except the people of Makkah. Where would they perform their own Eidain? Haram Makkah. Ulama have investigated it. Why is it that they perform their Eidain in Haram Makkah? They say because the large number of people who will congregate in Haram Makkah, there is no flat land in Makkah that can contain them. And wallahi, that is true. There is no single place, flat land that will now contain those people of that. Every street in Makkah, every corner, everywhere will take sufuf from the masjid. So imagine now that they have to move to a place. Where in Makkah will they move to? Likewise in Masjid al-Nabawi in Medina. That ruling has extended to Medina now. You have Salatul Eid that about 2 million people are observing at the same time. 2 million, 3 million. In Makkah it may be more than that. 5 or 6 million for Salatul Fitr. 5 million people. Everywhere is filled up. Because it is Hujjaj and Mu'tamirun together with the people of the city. 5, 6, 7, 8 million. Everywhere is filled up. If you see helicopter pictures, you will see what I'm talking about. All the streets, the sufuf will start from inside the masjid to everywhere you can find. In this kind of condition, where will they go out to? Where? Imagine that people have stopped from where Oshobo is to Alekuwadu. How is that? That is the kind of thing you will find in Makkah. From that place to here. So now you say, no, let's not stay in Masjid al-Haram. The question is, where in Makkah will they observe Salatul Eid? Where is the flat land that will contain all these people? Nowhere. So Masjid al-Haram has that exception. And that ruling has now extended to Masjid al-Nabawi also. Because we have a lot of people observing Salah in Masjid al-Nabawi today. Millions of people. I thank Allah that I have observed it there twice in Masjid al-Nabawi. May Allah make it easy for all of us too. Don't joke with your dua. Be serious with it. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that Allah says, Ya ibn Adam, innaka ma da'awtani wa rajawtani ghafartu lak wa la ubali. The sharts are two, the conditions are two. Da'awtani wa rajawtani. You invoke me and you have high hopes in me that I will answer. Allah will answer. Allah does not accept the dua min qalbin lahin, from a soul, an unmindful soul. He doesn't say, you are joking with yourself. Make your dua away. Be mindful of it. Put it in your mind. Allah will take you out of his power. If you perform Hajj and Umrah sometimes, if you see some people, you'll be wondering, even from Nigeria. You see from Nigeria performing Hajj. How did this one get the money to come here? Allah I say this always. Don't say Allah give me money to go. No, He can give you money and you don't go. So what you'll be saying is that Allah move me long. Allah move me long. Allah kajede me. Go with me, take me, I can how you take it. And he has taken a lot of people. And he's still taking people to join that group of people that will hope that Allah will take them and Allah will take you. He hopes. He has started taking many of our brothers now. There is one Aliyy there too. Aliyy Abdur-Raūf. So that's why I'm calling you Al-Hajj. You are Al-Hajj. Like me now, I'm Aliyy now too. Al-Hajj. Because shortly before you go and shortly after you come back, you can be referred to as Al-Hajj. Just because the issues around it is still with you. But it should not be taken as a title as we take it as a title in Nigeria. That's an innovation. If you are in Makkah now, they will be called Hajj, 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 and it's correct. Because you are in the condition of it. So we were to see money who judge. They already, like these people filling this masjid now, they can be referring to them generally speaking as Hujjaj. So those performing Hajj or those who are just not too long became part of Hajj, generally speaking, they may be referred to as Hujjaj. But it is not something that can be taken as a title. Some people go to Hajj for this reason. Don't waste your money. Ad-Durar Al-Bahiyyah. Don't go for Hajj because you want to be called Aliyy. I've heard it before. You hear state pilgrims saying that Ati Aliyy, Ati Garafa. Oh, go Arafa kaka, oh, go bi kaka. Ibi to tẹ́ ní Arafa, oh, egu. See, go here. Ati sọ̀kalẹ̀ lókè Arafa báyìí. Because we hear them calling people from home. Salaam alaikum, ati sọ̀kalẹ̀ lókè Arafa irọ́ ni kò gún bí kaka. Kaka, ogun kaka. Arafa is a flat land. Kogun kaka no. So they will now say, I want you to sọ̀kalẹ̀. Tariani, Ba'akaba. It's not correct. You hear them say, you will not say, Ati I've heard it celebrate many times. You hear this one, those mama they tell them, Ati Dalaji bye. Ati Dalaji. This is not the reason why you came here. Oti Dalaji ko so kole, Alaji ni ko so kole. Once you bring your intention and it's close to the time of Hajj, you can be referred to as Hajj. And the rest of the people called Hujjaj in its jump, in its plural. I hope that these points are clear. All our minds are with Hujjaj. Most of the Imam making khutbah now will be talking about Hajj. Although many of them will be saying things that are lies and that are not true. Àbámọ̀dá lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Mákà ń sọ gbogbo ẹnu la fi sọ eléyìí. You know what Yoruba call àbámọ̀dá? They just think out something and say it. Many of them are verbose. And there are two things. Àwọn nǹkan tó máa ń lé fún ìgbàgbọ́ alálàájì àwọn ò ní sọ fún wọn. So that's why the first thing you look for when you want to go for Hajj, go with a group of people tí wọ́n máa ń tí wọ́n ń ṣe má fún owó ná. I have met, there was a man, Baba Galagbani, I remember his name. He was commissioner in Ogun State during the regime of Obasanjo. He made Hajj with us 1 year. After the Hajj, he came to me. He said, Mala, Sisa, say, Wallahi, I have performed Hajj up to 7 or 8 times. This is the year that my mind is telling me, say, he said his mind is telling him that this year, Oja. A former governor of Lagos State told me that just 2 years ago. We finished the Hajj, we came back, we were in transit, he called me and said, I said, sir, I am just feeling that I have performed Hajj. I say, Alhamdulillah. Your mind will tell you that this Hajj is sound. You will go, oh my God, this Hajj. Oh yeah, so if you want that, look for good people. Don't look for Pokulowo. Because you don't want Pokulada. Wal jaza'u min jinsil amal. So if you look for Pokulowo, he will get it. But to Tilada Pokulo can get to Tilada for penny. So look for something that will really benefit you. Wallahi, in Hajj, ìgbàgbọ́ a máa jágá. Tí wọ́n bá tẹ̀ bá rẹ̀ ní sọ̀rọ̀ ìgbàgbọ́, if you find somebody tell you very good things about Iman, your Iman will rise. Iman rises in Hajj. Because you are face to face with realities of Iman. Sha'airullah. It will raise your Iman. When you didn't go with somebody who can help you. So you pay for that consequences. So don't say, oh, that's a woman. Nígbà tó fẹ́ ra fìlà rẹ tó mọ̀ pé fìlà gidi ni. Who helped you to select it? Who helped you to select good clothes in your market? Nígbà tí wọ́n bá ń sọ̀rọ̀, when they see they say, ànábì wí, ànábì wí. Ó mọ̀ yàtọ̀ láàrin ànábì wí àti àfá olórin kan wí. Nígbà tí wọ́n ṣe wá ìfún ìtàn sọ pé àfá olórin sọ pé wọ́n ń kọrin bẹ̀. Orin ni wọ́n ń kọ fún ọ. Ó tí mọ̀ pé orin náà lẹ́mọ̀ ọkọ lọ́hùn. But the other person is talking to you, say, call out of Annabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Annabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, àwọn sàábí Annabi, àwọn Annabi àpárí, and he's telling you this, oh, Timothy, you know that there is difference between the two. Àwọn ọpọlọ ni. So you should know. So if you leave all that and then you still decide to follow people who help you to waste your money, فَلَا تَلُمَنَّ إِلَّا مَنْ نَفْسَكَ. Don't blame anybody except yourself. If you want to go for Hajj, look for good people to go with. It's a major job to do while preparing for Hajj and Umrah in Ramadan. May Allah make it easy for us. So the sunnah of Salatul Eid is to do what? Go to the outskirts of the city. That's why Imam Ash-Shawkāni said, وَيُسْتَحَبُّ التَّجَمُّلُ وَالْخُرُوجُ إِلَىٰ خَارِجِ الْبَلَدِ. The next thing he talked about, he said, وَمُخَالَفَةُ الطَّرِيقِ تُسْتَحَبُّ ماذا؟ مُخَالَفَةُ الطَّرِيقِ. It is encouraged to go from one route, come back from another route. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari said, رضي الله عنهما, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إذا كان يوم عيد خالف الطريق. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إذا كان يوم عيد خالف الطريق. The Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, when it is on the days of Eid, خالف الطريق, he went on different roads. He made his route different. So if he is coming to, if the musalla is in Al-Iqwad Masjid here and there is no musalla here, but for example there is a musalla here, he comes here, maybe he is living in Agumbelewo, he comes here through government house and then okay, here he gets here. When he is going back, he can follow one road they call Onababona up to the junction of Agumbelewo roundabout, Khalafat Tariq. And then he continues to Agumbelewo because from that roundabout there is no second road. So it just follows another road. Anabi ama Bonada lele ibako. Tó bá gba ọ̀nà bí níjọ́ nígbà tó ń lọ yìí. Tó bá ń padà bọ̀ ọ̀nà míì ni ó gbà. It follows another road. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا كان يوم عيد خالف الطريق. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari reported that hadith, and it occurs in Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu has reported a similar hadith, and it is collected by Imam Ahmad in his Musnad, Al-Imām At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah in his Sunan. Likewise, it occurs in Sunan ibn Majah and Sahih ibn Khuzaymah. Al-Imām ibn Rajab al-Hanbali in his Fath, while discussing this hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah, he said, وَقَدْ اسْتَحَبَّ كَثِيرٌ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ لِلْإِمَامِ. قَدْ اسْتَحَبَّ كَثِيرٌ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ لِلْإِمَامِ وَغَيْرِهِ. Many of the people of knowledge have encouraged the Imam وَغَيْرِهِ and others apart from the Imam. إِذَا ذَهَبُوا في طريق إلى العيد, when they go along a particular road for Salatul Eid, and يرجعوا في غيره, that they should return upon another road. إذا ذهبوا في طريق إلى العيد, if they follow a particular road to Eid, and يرجعوا في غيره, that they should return following another road. Al-Imām At-Tirmidhi in his Sunan under the Hadith 541 has mentioned a similar statement from the early Muslims, that when you go for Salatul Eid, go from one road and then come back from another road. When we were young boys at home, our parents used to do that, but we didn't know the reason why. To teach your children that that is the Sunnah. Tí ẹ bá lọ yídì tó gbọ̀nà bí, nígbà tó bá ń gbọ̀ kó gbọ̀nà ọ̀hún, kó mọ́ gbàdí kó gbọ̀ ọ̀hún. Is that correct in Yoruba? The next thing that Imam said, rahimahullah, وَالْأَقْلُ قَبْلَ الْخُرُوجِ فِي الْفِطْرِ دُونَ الْأَضْحَى وَيُسْتَحَبُّ الْأَقْلُ. It is also encouraged to eat food fil fitri for Eid al-Fitr, dun al-Adha, not on Eid al-Adha. For Eid al-Adha, there is no food before Salah, before you go for Salah. We are talking about Sunnah. If a person eats, don't say, oh, le pera ma o ti jẹun, oh, le pera. No? He won't have the reward of that Sunnah to follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Because Burayda radiyallahu anhu said, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, لا يخرج يوم الفطر حتى يطعم. لا يخرج يوم الفطر. He will not go out on the day of Eid al-Fitr for Salatul Fitr حتى until and unless يطعم, he eats something. Unless he eats something. Kò ní jáde àti kókó jẹ nǹkan náà. Ìjọ ọdún Ìtúnú Àwẹ̀. ويوم النحر لا يأكل حتى يرجع. But for the day of Adha, يوم النحر, on the day of Eid al-Adha, لا يأكل. لا يأكل. The Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam will not eat anything حتى يرجع, until he comes back from the Eid. فيأكل من نسيكته. فيأكل من نسيكته. He will now eat from that slaughtering of sheep. He will eat from that slaughtering. Oníjọ́ ọdún Ààwẹ̀, ọdún Ìtúnú, èyí ó jẹun kó tó lọ yìí. Ṣùgbọ́n Ànábì sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, níjọ́ ọdún Ìdúrà, kò ní jẹun àfìgbà tó bá darí yídì, yóò wá jẹ nínú ẹran iléyá. To eat faya'kulu min nasikatihi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It means ẹran iléyá mọ́ pẹ́ díẹ̀. Tètè tó ṣe kó lè jẹun. Otherwise you put yourself in the state of anger because you become hungry. And they say that the one who is hungry, yóò bá mọ̀ kẹ́ra mọ́ ọmọ ẹ̀yìn ọmọ ẹ̀kú lọ́nà títí. Once you come back, quickly slaughter the ram, and you can begin to, in fact, you can make it interesting. Set up a little place for what they now call barbecue. Between ẹ̀tìlẹ̀ sun ẹran. So that in Dubai, ẹ̀yìn yanjú ẹ̀ ń fi epo àti òróró sí, ẹ̀yìn ti sórí ti tẹ́tì sún. So wọ́n lè fi grilling náà ni, àwọn obìnrin ti ní grilling machine nísìn. Wọ́n kàn kí wọ́n fi epo yìí, wọ́n fi gbogbo òróró máa jí, wọ́n kì bọ́nú ẹ̀. 15 minutes, you started eating that meat. If you, because of this, go and buy that grilling machine, Allah will reward you that you are following the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu. You can use that. The reason I'm buying this grilling machine is that on the day of Eid al-Adha, I want to quickly be able to eat from my meat. So you grill it. Grilling is like, it's not frying, it's not boiling, but it will make the meat suitable for consumption. Very nice. Because it largely retains the protein, because the heat is not as much as the heat of frying and boiling. So you cook the meat. Arabs grill a whole ram. a hora. They will now put it in front of at the middle of the house. Everybody just goes to cut his own. Some people drag it, you just cut with your hands. It's a very good thing to do. What makes life enjoyable is trying new things. Just try to do it in another way. What they do? Èyàn lè bọ́ odidi ẹran, téyàn ó grill odidi ẹran. So everybody will be happy. Oh, this is a new thing. So it is a thing that we must try to make ourselves happy. Very important. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لا يخرج يوم الفطر حتى يطعمه. He won't go out on the day of Eid al-Fitr unless he eats something. وَيَوْمُ النَّحَرِ. But as for the days of Nahar, the days of slaughtering, لَا يَأْكُلُ حَتَّى يَرْجِعَ. He will not eat unless he returns. فَيَأْكُلُ مِنْ نَسِيكَتِهِ. He will not eat from his slaughtering. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. This hadith occurs in Musnad Imam Ahmad. Al-Imām Tirmidhi also reported it. Likewise, Al-Imām Ibn Majah reported this hadith. So that nobody stands to say, some scholars say this hadith is da'if. Yes, some people say the hadith is da'if. But the correct thing is that this hadith is sahih. Inshallah. If there is need, and that question is raised, we will explain why it is sahih. But if there is no need, we proceed. Inshallah. Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu. He says, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم لا يغدو يوم الفطر. The Prophet لا يغدو يوم الفطر. He will not proceed on the days of Eid al-Fitr حتى يأكل التمرات. Until he eats what? Tamrat. Dates. Dabino. La Nabi Manje alayhi salatu wasalam. In the morning of Eid al-Fitr, what does the Prophet eat? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Dates, dabino, tamrat, dry dates. Dry dates. He eats them. He won't go out unless he eats them. And in a ziyada of this hadith, it says, وَيَأْكُلُهُنَّ وِتْرًا. وَيَأْكُلُهُنَّ وِتْرًا. He will eat them odd. Either one, or what? Or three, or what? Or five, or what? Or seven, or what? 9. You can eat 9 because you have just finished Ramadan. Or what? 11. Or what? 13. They are all from aspects of eating something that is odd, making odd. So eat it odd. وَيَأْكُلُهُنَّ وِتْرًا. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he will eat this thing odd. Imam Bukhari reported hadith, Imam Tirmidhi, likewise Al-Imām Ibn Majah. Many of the scholars have explained why is that. They say because the time for giving charity on the day of Eid al-Kabir, Eid al-Adha, the time for giving charity is after Eid. You give people from your meat. So he's eating at that time too. But on Eid al-Fitr, the time for charity is the time of giving Zakat al-Fitr. So he eats at the beginning too. So he's giving and eating too. He's giving and eating. In the morning for Eid al-Fitr, he's giving Zakat al-Fitr, he is also eating. On the day of Eid al-Adha, he is giving people from his meat. He's also doing what? He's also eating from it. Al-Imām Ibn al-Munayyir mentioned that in his work on Abwab al-Imam al-Bukhari, that Al-Imam al-Hafiz ibn Hajar has cited from him. Almost the entire book on his Abwab occurs in Fathul Bari. Ibn al-Munayyir, rahimahullah. There are other things ulama have said about that. And then Al-Imām Ash-Shawkāni said, rahimahullah, وَوَقْتُهَا بَعْدَ ارْتِفَاءِ الشَّمْسِ قدر رمح إلى الزوال. وقتها وقت صلاة العيدين. The time for Salatul Eid is بعد ارتفاع الشمس. After the sun has risen. What does that mean? We have discussed this a lot when we are discussing Mawaqit. and we are discussing the time for Salatul Fajr, we discuss it a lot. When we are discussing Salatul Duha, we discuss this issue a lot. Irtifa'u Shams, the time that the sun rises, is when that disk of the sun you are seeing at the morning goes away from the horizon. You know it will be coming out, Abi. You my daddy there, to come out, it will come out, it will come out. And then after it will be disconnected from the horizon. That time that it is up, called Rumhin, and the length from that up down will be up to the length of a spear. That is the time to start observing Salatul Al-Eid, and that is the time also for Salatul Duha. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Abdullah ibn Busr. Do you remember Abdullah ibn Busr? What do we remember Abdullah ibn Busr for? Ibn Busrin. Abdullah. What do we remember him for? Radiyallahu anhu. And his father Busr. And his sister Ukhtuhu. And his aunt. Himself. His father. His sister. His aunt. Ulama say Alu Busrin. What do we remember them for? The hadith of fasting on the days on Saturday. La tasumu yawm as-sabt. It is the hadith of Ali Busrin. Abdullah ibn Busrin radiyallahu anhu is the one who said that he went out. It says, and Abdullah ibn Busrin annahu kharaja ma'an nas yawma Eid Fitrin. He went out with people on the day of Eid al-Fitr, or Adha, or Eid al-Adha. فَأَنْكَرَ إِبْطَاءَ الْإِمَامِ. Abdullah ibn Busrin, he discouraged the Imam coming late. He criticized it. Tell why was Imam coming late? For Salatul Eid. So let Imam say by day, Eid. Radiyallahu anhu. وَقَالَ, and then he said, إِنَّا Kunna, as for we used to, ma'an nabi, in the report of Al-Imām Al-Bahiyyah, it says, Inna kunna ma'an nabi. We, when we used to be with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, قَدْ فَرَضْنَا سَاعَتَنَا هَذِهِ. At this kind of time, we already finished Salatul Eid. I want to see Utani Ruwa, I want to see Utani. When we were with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, at that time that he was talking, وَذَلِكَ حِينَ التَّصْبِيحِ. That time, حِينَ التَّصْبِيحِ or حِينَ التَّصْبِيحِ. The time that he's talking about was the time of what? At-Tasbih, ulama fi Salatul Duha. That time is the time for Salatul Duha. We would have finished Salah when we were with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This hadith is Hasan. Al-Imām Abu Dawud has reported it. Likewise, Ibn Majah and Al-Imām Ahmad in his Musnad. They have all reported this hadith. And many of the scholars say this hadith is Hasan, including Imam Ahmad, including Hafiz ibn Hajar, rahimahullah, and others amongst the ulama. They say that this hadith is hadithun Hasan. So we now understand what Qadru Rumhin is. The height of what? A spear. When the sun goes up into the horizon, in the height of a spear. And that is the time of what? Salatul Duha. So Salatul Eid is observed when? At the time of Salatul Duha. If you read, there are a lot of athar that some of the companions after Salatul Fajr, they would have prepared for Eid from Fajr. After Fajr, they will just sit down and be waiting. In Masjid al-Haram, in Masjid al-Nabawi. He will sit down and be waiting. Up till today. Last Ramadan, we even discussed it in Makkah. Look, if you come for Salatul Fajr, prepare for Eid. Because once you go out of the masjid, I assure you, you will not pray that Salah inside masjid. You will pray on the street. Once you go out after Fajr, in Makkah. So the early Muslims got used to, after Fajr they were waiting. in less than between 45 minutes to 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes, they will start Salatul Eid. They will start Salatul Eid. So it's something that is not so far away. So I go make 1 year pay. I go make one pay. The major abo major. I tell you how to wale major abo major, especially now. Major abo major now. But from 9 otin pay. So if they delay, we tell them what this companion said. We would have prayed at this time. So we should not delay Salatul Eid. Al-Imām Ash-Shawkāni said, Rahimahullah, وَوَقْتُهَا بَعْدَ ارْتِفَاءِ الشَّمْسِ. The time for Salatul Eid is after the sun rises. قَدْرَ رُمْحٍ. The rising of the sun will be up to the height of a spear. إِلَى الزَّوَالِ. That is the beginning time. It continues up onto the time of Zawal. I was really surprised to find that Al-Imām Ash-Shawkāni gives a time, an end time to it, to say it is up to the time of Zawal. Because there is a time of Istiwa'u Shams, and that is ma qabla Zawal. Even Salatul Duha, it will stop at the time that the sun is on the horizon. So that's supposed to be the end time for Salatul Eid. Because that time that the sun is up directly above us, Salah is not allowed at that, except with text. So for us to say it's extends ila ma ba'da zawal, it requires proof. And I've not seen him mentioning it, rahimahullah. So a safe thing to say, inshallah, is that ila ma qabla zawal. Up to before the issues of that, because between the time that the sun is on the horizon and zawal is not more than 15 to 20 minutes. So if you know the time of Zuhur, let's say Zuhur is 12:50. From about 12:30, you should stop observing Salatul Eid. The reason why you need to know this time is that you can miss Eid. You may be traveling and you come back. They just finish the Eid. You should be able to know, Titi Bigbawo, up to what time can I observe Salatul Eid? Because an individual can observe Salatul Eid if he misses Eid. You come to the Eid ground, you miss Eid. You are not lazy. You can also go back to your home. Anas ibn Malik and others amongst the Tabi'un, they used to do that. They come back to their home, they gather their family outside their house, in front of their house, they will pray the Salah the way the Imam will pray that Salah. So if you don't know the beginning time and the end time, you will not know what to do. So very important. But Imam Ash-Shawkāni says, Rahimahullah, وَوَقْتُهَا بَعْدَ ارْتِفَاءِ الشَّمْسِ قَدْرَ رُمْحٍ إِلَى الزَّوَالِ. Then he says, وَلَا أَذَانَ فِيهَا وَلَا إِقَامَةً. وَلَا أَذَانَ فِيهَا وَلَا أَذَانَ فِي صَلَاةِ الْعِيدِ وَلَا إِقَامَةً. Likewise, there is no adhan, no iqamah. The Imam comes and says, iqamah, la adhan fiha wala iqamah. Jabir ibn Samurah, not Jabir ibn Abdullah. Jabir ibn Samurah radiyallahu anhu said, Sallaytu ma'a, Jabir is a nice name. I hope I have a son I can name Jabir. Very nice. Many companions have that name, Jabir. Who amongst us has a son, Jabir? Amongst us, Jabir. I know Abu Jabir. Abu Jabir Onibata. Do we know him? Huh? Abu Jabir. Oh, it's his son, not Jabir. Ja'far. Abu Ja'far. Khalas. We will see one of our brothers who will name Jabir first. There's Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, there's Jabir ibn Samurah. There are other Jawabira amongst the companions of the Prophet Muhammad. Radiyallahu anhu, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Here Jabir ibn Samurah said, these are the names we should be naming. Some of our people will be looking for naming Gogu Munia, They will now be asking, Ustaz, what is the meaning of this name? Don't worry yourself. Look for Maryam, Khadija, Fatima, and you relax. They are looking for names. A. They want a name that starts with A. Or B or C. May Allah protect us. Jabir ibn Abdullah, different. Jabir ibn Samura, different. In this case, this hadith is the hadith of who? Jabir ibn Samura, radiyallahu anhu. He said, صليت مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم الإيدين غير مرة. I observed Salatul Eidain along with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. غير مرة, more than once. ولا مرتين, not twice, not once, not twice. بغير أذان ولا إقامة, without adhan, no إقامة. No adhan, no iqamah. Akim Salah Nabi can't do any law. There was no adhan, there was no iqamah. That hadith occurs in Sahih Muslim. It also occurs in Sunan al-Tirmidhi. Al-Imām Abu Dawud also reports the hadith. Abdullah ibn Abbas and Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari radiyallahu anhum also said, لم يكن يؤذن يوم الفطر ولا يوم الأضحى. لم يكن يؤذن. The Prophet did not used to encourage people to or command people to make adhan or iqamah يوم الفطر on the days of Eid al-Fitr or on the days of Eid al-Adha. He did not used to do that. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. This hadith of Ibn Abbas and Jabir occurs in Bukhari and Muslim. Likewise, there are other asar that the ulama have mentioned. And that's why Imam Ibn al-Munzir in Al-Awsat, he said that from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is that we do not make azan, neither should we make iqamah on the days of Eid. No azan, no iqamah. This is where Imam Ash-Shawkāni has stopped. Rahimahullah. It says, Babu Salatil Eidain. Let's go back to our text again. Babu Salatil Eidain. هي ركعتان, يعني صلاة العيدين ركعتان. في الأولى 7 تكبيرات, يعني في الركعة الأولى 7 تكبيرات قبل القراءة, before we recite. وفي الثانية, يعني وفي الركعة الثانية 5 كذلك, يعني 5 تكبيرات, 5 تكبيرات كذلك, like that too, meaning before قراءة too. ويكتب بعدها. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam would make khutbah after the salah, not before the salah. وَيُسْتَحَبُّ التَّجَمُّلُ. It is encouraged to dress well. وَالْخُرُوجُ إِلَى خَارِجِ الْبَلَدِ. It is also encouraged to move to the outskirts of the city. وَمُخَالَفَةُ الطَّرِيقِ. It is also encouraged to do what? To take different routes. You come from one route, you go back from another route. وَالْأَكْلُ قَبْلَ الْخُرُوجِ فِي الْفِطْرِ دُونَ الْأَضْحَى, يعني وَيُسْتَحَبُّ الْأَكْلِ. It is also encouraged that you eat food. فِي الْفِطْرِ, on the days of Eid al-Fitr. What did the Prophet used to eat? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Samra. How will he eat them? يَأْكُلُهُنَّ وِكْرًا. He will eat them odd, 1 or what? Or 3 or what? Or 5 and so on. وَوَقْتُهَا, and the time for Salatul Eidain بَعْدَ ارْتِفَاعِ الشَّمْسِ. It is after the sun rises. قَدْرَ رُمْحٍ, in the height of a spear. From that time, إِلَى الزَّوَالِ, up to the time of zawal. Don't forget that it should be up to the time of istiwa. Ma qabla al-istiwa. Once the sun goes to horizon, stop your Salatul Eid. Wala azana fiha wala iqama. There is no azan for Salatul Eid. Likewise, there is no iqama. So let's know Baba Adini stand up tomorrow and say, Emini Baba Adini, moni wa gbọ́dọ̀ pẹ̀rún. Àṣẹ káṣẹ ló ń pa yẹn o. May Allah protect us. All these things, strange things are happening in places. So we have to be warning the people against it. And against those people who sometimes do strange things. May Allah protect us. There's a sunnah that's not usually mentioned. Al-Imām Hakim al-Nisaburi, Abu Abdullah, in his Mustadrak al-Hakim, he says, Hiya sunnatun azizatun. It's a sunnah that is not frequent, it's not common, aziza. It's a sunnah, aziza, uncommon. It is not commonly found, and it is from the sunnah of this day of Eid. And its hadith is sahih. Al-Imām al-Busayri in Misbah al-Zujaja, and Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar in Bulugh al-Maram, Al-Imam ibn Khuzaymah in Sahih ibn Khuzaymah, and others. They mention the hadith sahih. What is that sunnah? Abu Sa'id al-Khudri said, radiyallahu anhu, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, لا يصلي قبل العيد شيئا. Before Salatul Eid, no nafila. There is no observing any nafila because we are not in a masjid, we are in musalla. So don't say there is no tahiyyatul masjid. This is not masjid, this is musalla. Unless there is darura and you have to observe Salatul Eid in a masjid, then you give the right of the masjid to it. Those your 2 units of prayer, it's not tahiyyat, it's not qabliyya for Salatul Eid. What is it? Tahiyyatul masjid. I hope that is clear. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, لا يصلي قبل العيد شيئا. He will not observe qabliyya for Salatul Eidain. فإذا رجع إلى منزله, but when the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم returns to his house, صلى ركعتين. He performs 2 units of prayer in his house. So take to this sunnah. There is an Eid coming, when you go back to your house after Salatul Eid, what will you do? Raka meji, 2 units of prayer. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to do that. He will not perform it at Musalla. Where will he perform it? In his manzil, in his house. So when you come back to the house on the day of Eid, perform 2 rakats of Nāsir. That hadith occurs in Sunan Ibn Majah. It also occurs in Musnad Imam Ahmad. So here we will stop inshallah for Eidain. For Salatul Eidain we will stop here inshallah. But in our next class next week, may Allah keep us till then and thereafter, we are going to discuss Sunanu Ayyamil Ashri Dhul Hijjah, the Sunan of the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. The first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. It has Sunan. Do you know that Allah talked about these days in the Quran? Where did He say it? In Al-Fajr. He says, Wal-Fajr wa-layalin ashr. Allah swore with those 10 days. The first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. Very important days. And we are just going to witness them soon. So I thought it's necessary that we should remind us about the sunan of those first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. Insha'Allah, that is what we will get busy with in our next class. And that we will call it a day, inshallah, in our next class. Hoping and begging Allah to take us to meet those who have already gone for their Hajj, bi'idhnillah. So inshallah, in our next class, next weekend, we'll be discussing the sunan of the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. Oṣù ọdún Iléyá, ìjọ kẹwàá àkọ́kọ́ ẹ̀. Ọlọ́run ọba pàtàkì ìjọ náà ó fi búra nínú Qur'an, inú Suratul Fajr wal-Fajr wa layalin ashr. Àwọn ọjọ́ mẹ́wàá tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ oṣù Dhul Hijjah tá a máa ń ṣe ọdún ìdúrà, lọ́lọ́run ọba sọ nínú àyá Qur'an. Kí wá láwọn ojúṣe Mùsùlùmí láwọn ọjọ́ mẹ́wàá yìí á sọ inshallah lọ́sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀. Bismillah, we mention it torí pé a ti fẹ́ débẹ̀ ni. To be able to follow this sunnah, Bismillah, and expect that Allah rewards us. Ikhwa, let us try, because this is the time we have. Last week, not last week, last Wednesday, just last Wednesday, one of our brothers slept with one of his children. They slept. Not sleep with. He slept and the child too slept. Because English language is a funny language. Concord, so this brother slept along with his child. Along with. Don't say sleep with, oh. Innocently, you start trouble. So, in the middle of the night, the girl began to cry. 5 years old girl. She just started crying. You know women, they will be pacifying the child, trying to calm down the child, trying. When they get tired, what will they do? They will call the father. Abu, come and carry this child. The brother carried the child. The girl was crying, and then the girl died. Nothing happened to her. She just started crying, she died. Wallahi, it's a very painful thing. He was carrying her like this till she died. In the middle of the night. And this brother had toiled on this girl. May Allah reward him and the girl's mother abundantly. May Allah use their toiling over her to forgive all their shortcomings. Because Allah uses inconvenience that a servant is patient over to forgive his sins. May Allah forgive their sins because of the inconvenience. The girl passed away in that night. And the brother was surmounting courage. He kept the girl on the bed. The mother said, how far? He said, she is sleeping. But he knew that the girl had died. So they went to check and saw that something. The one who gave the girl to us, he took up it. So we beg Allah to pacify both the brother and the wife. May He grant them succor. May He delight them. Usually when Allah brings you something you are uncomfortable with, from His Sunnah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He will comfort you. Yobawa buru. Allah's Sunnah, ìṣesí Olúwa dẹ́dà ní pé tó bá pààyàn lẹ́kún àtúndùn nínú apálẹ́rìn. Ìgbà tó bá wá pálẹ́rìn wọ́n ní ó ṣe kìíní kan ní Yorùbá. Torí pé òkú Yorùbá kì í kúlẹ̀. What does that mean? Ẹ máa gbọ́ yé fúnra yín o. I was telling the brother about this. You know what the person asked me? Kí ló ṣe náà? Ṣé l'accident ní wọ́n lé èèyàn kú? Kí ni kì í pààyàn náà? Kí ni kì í pààyàn? What doesn't kill human being? Sleep, food, water, air. There is nothing that does not kill human beings. But Yorùbá will say, Májè àtọ́jú orun bọ́ sójú ikú. Májè alẹ́ gba accident. Májè jẹun kákú. Èwo ló wá fẹ́ kú bẹ́ẹ̀? Ẹ bá bá wọn ṣe. Ó sá kú kan ni. Ayọ́rọ́bẹ́ntì kó. Za su ce ba sa so mutuwan mota, ba sa so mutuwan daga bacci ko, ba sa so mutuwan abubuwa hanya ko sama ne, nan jirgin sama ne ko menene. So mu za mu ce, so ya mutuwa zai zo wajen ku, how will you die? Yoruba, they fear death so much. Not that we should like to die, or we should want to die. It is not correct for a Muslim to like or want to die. It's not correct. Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet wants him, don't make tamanni to die. Don't hope. Don't wish to die. I wish I die now. Don't say that. Don't wish that. That is why suicide bombing cannot be Islam. It can't be Islam. It is fundamentally opposing to the basic rules of Islam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told his uncle, don't wish to die. How will that same Islam tell you, go and die and bomb yourself? How does it? Go. Allah says, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Don't kill yourself. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا. Allah is absolutely merciful to you. So don't kill yourself. He says, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Don't bring your hands, yourself, into trouble, into destruction with your hands. So how can that same religion say, tie bomb and bomb yourself with people? It is not possible. It's not possible. They are two opposing things. It cannot be Islam. It can't be. So as much as we do not crave and pray, Allah kill us, la. Allah give us long life upon Iman and Taqwa, and make us end upon Iman and Taqwa. This is our dua. Because the end shall come, whether we want it or not, things shall end. Everything that has a beginning has an end. So whenever we are going to pass away, may Allah make it be upon Iman. I think it will suffice that we stop here so that we can take a few questions, 1, 2, 3, before we go for the next one. Tomorrow, inshallah. In the next weekend, inshallah. Now, alaykum salam. There is one big sheikh near you. So do what? Is it true that it is not correct for an individual to rest on his left on the ground? Is it true? Is it correct that we should not be resting, relaxing on our left hand on the ground? This question involves two things. One of them is allowed, one of them is prohibited. He said, having the left hand on the ground. If you have the left hand on the ground behind you, it is prohibited. If you have the left hand on the ground by your side, there is no blame. The hadith on the prohibition on the left hand behind you occurs in Sahih Muslim, if I'm not forgetting. And the Prophet ﷺ called it from amongst the behavior of the Jews. He cursed those who did it. May Allah protect us. But if it is by the side, that hadith in Ash-Shama'il by Al-Imām At-Tirmidhi that indicates that once the Prophet himself sallallahu alayhi wa sallam rests on that left, I can't remember whether that hadith also occurs in Al-Adab al-Mufrad of Al-Imām al-Bukhari. But the hadith is in Shama'il al-Nabi by Al-Imām At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah. That he messenger himself rested on the left sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But that left was by his side. So resting on the left by the side, clearly, is different from resting, putting the hand behind you. This one is prohibited. Now, it may also include both left and right. If it is left and right, there is no blame. If it is left alone, it is prohibited. If it is right alone, there is no blame. If the left is by your side, there is no blame. But if it is left alone and behind you, then that is prohibited. I hope that this matter is clear. Alaykum salam. There's a big brother here. Jihad week brother. Alaykum salam. It was a customized jihad week you had. Ameen wa antum fajazakallahu khairan. Now. If you miss for genuine reasons Salatul Eid, and you go back to your home to pray with your family, you have family, you are married? No, okay, you are just thinking. Are we going to give khutbah after the Salah? No. There is no khutbah after the Salah. You just pray and you go into your house. Okay? There is no khutbah if you are praying alone. If you are with the people, now khutbah. Alone, no khutbah. Do you understand? Just like even Salatul Jummah, no khutbah if you are praying alone. If you miss Jummah, you come now. No. If you are praying Salatul Zuhr, no khutbah. So no khutbah too. Allahu Alam. Alaykum Assalam. I'm coming here, inshallah. Alaykum Assalam. There's an issue that occurs amongst brothers. One, what is the appropriate time to slaughter a ram after Salatul Eid? Is it after the Imam has slaughtered his own, or after, or immediately after the Salah, or after the khutbah? F of X is equal to XYZ. F of XYZ is what you are giving me. You know, when you have Y is equal to F of XYZ, the equation is complex. So he asks it with three variables. You use what people are doing to make them know what you want to tell them. These are the things these young brothers are busy with now. F of X. All their life now is F of X. We used to be busy with F of X too. So when is the time to slaughter the ram? Is it after the khutbah? Firstly, is it after Salah, or after the khutbah, or after the Imam himself slaughter? We will discuss this in the next class, so that we will do justice to it and address all X, Y, and Z. You know, in complex differentials, you address them one after the other. Have you? And integral too sometimes. Integral F of X. Now, alaykum salam. Bismillah, we'll discuss that issue. We did not go to Udhiyah because this issue is actually about Salah. In Babul Udhiyah, he will discuss all those things. The other. In the Bab about slaughtering, these rules about slaughtering will come there. The only reason why it is connected to us is that we are talking about Eid. But among the scholars of fiqh, these are two issues. Salatul Eid is different. The issues regarding rulings on slaughtering will go under Udhiyah. Do you understand? Or Al-Abahi slaughtering. So they will be there back inside. But it is there too in Ad-Durar. We may go into it and read from it, or we may just discuss it as an issue. If I look at it, whichever way that it goes and it make us understand it easier and better, inshallah we'll follow it. Bismillah in our next class. Now, alaykum salam. I think some brothers here were reading. Alaykum salam. Is there a particular surah yet? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in some ahadith it says that he will recite Al-A'la in the first rak'ah, and then he will recite Al-Ghashiyah in the second rak'ah. In some report it says he will recite Surah Iqtaraba, and in the second rak'ah he will recite what? Qaf. He will recite Qaf in the second rak'ah. Iqtarabat as-sa'ah wa anshaqqa al-qamar. That's Surah Al-Qamar, first rak'ah, or Qaf wal Qur'an al-Majid. That's one of my most interesting surah. So either of these, either the Iqtarabat and Qaf group, or A'la and Ghashiyah. That is, Sabbihisma Rabbika al-A'la, first rak'ah. Second rak'ah, Hal Ataka Hadithul Ghashiyah. Is that clear? Alaykum as-salam, ma'ala. Ameen, ma'ala. The conditions for listening to the khutbah of Jummah, no, they are not the same. Because the khutbah of Eid is mustahab. If you like, you wait. If you like, you go. The Prophet told us that. This hadith of Abu Hurairah and others too. Radiyallahu anhum. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, after Salatul Eid, he said to the people, those who want to wait for khutbah, wait. Those who want to go, go. So they can wait, they can go. But khutbah on the day of Jummah is wajibah ala sahih. So it has its own adab. And then from the sunnah of from the difference in the two khutbah, the khutbah of Eid and the khutbah of Jum'ah is the khutbah of Jum'ah, if there are women, only one khutbah will suffice. But from the sunnah of Eid is that men's khutbah is different, women's khutbah is different. He will talk to the men separately, he will come down, he will go to the place where the women are, and then he will talk to the women. Then we go away. He will address the women. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. But he did not used to go alone. Madalo. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he went with who? Abdullah ibn Abbas, Jabir ibn Abdullah, and others. He will go with some. And Hilal. About 4 of them went with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So you will not stand alone amongst women. So people are standing with him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So don't say, oh, once okay, so then don't go alone. Go with your people if you are an imam. And I don't think see any one of us here who is imam Bobo Shoboyi, who is going to lead in, what's the name of that place where our Eid is now? Now? Huh? Is that place okay, Vale? Koka. Huh? Kalomo Shubu Gagandi. Abu Ali. Àwọn lọ́ba. Naam. Alaykum salam. Amin wa antum. Is it part of the sunnah for the imam to slaughter a ram? It has come under his issue. We'll address it in that discourse, inshallah. Alaykum salam. Amin wa antum. Is it permissible for chief imam of the city to give permission that some people can observe Eid somewhere? Is it permissible even though that place is not outside the city? Is that permissible? The first is that there is nothing like chief imam. Imam is imam. There is nothing like chief. Oh, King Larwa, chief imam. Huh? Huh? Al-Imam So there is nothing like chief imam. Imam is imam. Not the chief is chief. Imam. Yes, speak. The second thing is that the entire people can observe Salah. But the ulama, Al-Imam Ibn al-Munzir in Al-Awsat, discussed an issue. That we can find some people who will be weak and unable to be able to go down there. That the Imam can permit them to establish Salatul Eid in the major masjid in the town. That one occurs in Al-Awsat by Al-Imam Al-Munzir. It also occurs in Al-Mughni by Al-Imam Ibn Qudama. That the Imam can authorize someone to lead weak people. Meaning that, don't just take it weak people. Some people may have difficulty somehow to be able to come down to Koka or OSDC as we choose to call it. They may not, for whatever reason, genuinely be able to come there. This position of the early Muslims shows that it is something that the Imam can do. He can say, okay, after Koka, let there be Jum'ah in so place. Maybe Ojoba Masjid. It still remains the biggest masjid in this town. So everybody who can't come to Koka, come to Ojoba, and everybody will go there. He will appoint an imam for them on their behalf. They will fall under this category of what these scholars have said. I hope this matter is clear, inshallah. Is it clear? It addresses your question. Alhamdulillah. Alaykum salam. I mean one. Like two. Is it only allowed to observe the Eid Salah, the central Eid? Yes. That is the only thing that is allowed. The problem is that the Muslim community is bifurcated now. The Muslim community is largely bifurcated, largely divided. Because one of the intentions of the general Eid, Nipe Enu Kalani, we will have only one mouth, one imam, leading every Muslim in this town. How is that? That is the structure, communal structure, societal structure that Islam has left. Islam has structure. The smallest unit of the Muslim community is the individual. Like a cell, the smallest unit is the individual. Followed by his family, followed by the masjid in his community, and then the larger community, a Jum'ah community. That's why ulama say it is an innovation for you to leave the masjid in your community to another masjid. So we say, pray in your locality, in your community. For daily salawat. Salatul Jummah, maybe your community is connected to 4 communities. And these 4 communities have one Masjid al-Jami. So you have 4 communities coming where? Together under one bigger community. Now, this one bigger community, perhaps there are 10 kinds of such bigger communities in the town. So there are 10 Masajid al-Jummah in the town. So all these 10 will go to that single place for Salatul Eid. This is the way the Muslim community is structured. But we know that one of the things that has done the job of Shaitan in this community are Muslim organizations. Muslim organizations have played great role to break this communal interaction amongst the Muslims. So you see one community say, one Muslim organization, they will start an Eid. You see one community, they are not more than 20, they will start one Eid. I have observed an Eid in Lagos 1 year, long ago, I think early 2000. We were looking at ourselves like this. Like this. All those kinds of society and organization-based Eid should be scrapped. Everybody should go to the central Eid. This is what Sheikh Ali Hassan Abdul Hamid Al-Halabi captures in his book Ahkamul Eidain fi Sunnatil Mutahhara. He said, Hafizahullah, wa ha huna tanbihun la budda minhu. Here, there is a point of note that must necessarily be mentioned. وَهُوَ أَنَّ الْهَدَفَ مِنَ الصَّلَاةِ فِي الْمُصَلَّى. And that is the point that the basic reason, the basic aim, the main goal of observing Salatul Eid, all of us in the Musalla, not the Masjid. The aim is اجتماع أذن المسلمين, that the large majority of the Muslims should combine and stay in a community, in a single place for Salah. في مكان واحد. They should gather in a single place. بينما الذي نراه اليوم, despite the fact that what we have seen today في كثير من البلاد, in many of the cities, is what? تعدد المصليات. Multiplication of musalla, multiplication of Eid grounds. ولو من غير حاجة. Even when there is no need, like the type that we described earlier. وهذا أمر قد نبه العلماء على كراهيته. This is an affair that the ulama nabbahu ala karahiyatihi. They have warned us regarding that, the fact that it is prohibited. But قد أصبحت بعض المصليات. In fact, the situation has gone to such an extent that some of the praying grounds have become manabira hizbiyatin. They become the place where groups and organizations used to flex their muscles. You the Namlak, you the Samlak, you the Maskat, you the Maskat. So before the Eid you'll be asking, you the Boliwala, Maskala. This one has you the Boliwala, Muskala. This one we have you the Boliwala. All these things are bifurcating the Ummah. They are dividing us. And Allah has warned us against it. He says, وَلَا تَكُونُوا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Don't be like idol worshippers. مِنَ الَّذِينَ فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُمْ. These are the people who divided their religion. Oya, Obatala, Sango, and others. Oshogo. Don't be like them. They divided themselves. وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا. And they became small groups and factions. What do they do? كُلُّ حِزْبٍ بِمَا لَدَيْهِمْ فَرِحُونَ. Each group say, Awala Daji. Are they not saying that? If you go to Muscat Eid, they say, Yidi Siwadu. They don't say, Lumlat Eid, say, Yidi Siwadu Zitilo. Muskalat Eid, say, no, Yidi Siwadu. Kullu Hizbin. Allah says, La takunu mislahum. Don't be like them. Unfortunately, this is what these organizations have turned into. The Sheikh says, Hafizahullah, بل قد أصبحت بعض المصليات منابر حزبية. Some of the praying grounds have become the areas to spread hizbiyah. لتفريق كلمة المسلمين. And they've used that لتفريق to divide the unity of the Muslims. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. That occurs in his book أحكام العيدين في سنة المطهرة, page 24. I had intended to read it, but I left it because of time. But Qadarullahi wa ma sha'a fa'ala, we had to come back to it. I think that addresses all those issues. May Allah protect all of us. I then think also it will suffice for a class today. Bi-Iznillah will meet next week to discuss the rulings concerning the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.